From the hallowed halls of Epic Financial Strategies here in Red Bank, New Jersey, we are Infinity X, giving a stage and microphone to human excellence in the pursuit of creating infinite sales opportunities by having conversations with people like the mighty Katie Barnett. What's up, Katie? How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yep, we got you loud and clear. What's going on?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I've done a lot of lives. I've done a lot of Zooms. I've done a lot of podcasts, but I've never done all three at once. And so my palms are sweating.
Well, listen, buckle your seatbelt because we're in for a hell of a night tonight, right? But happy Tuesday to you, Katie. So what's going on with you in the world?
Oh, in between business and all things leadership and a million different meetings today, I'm making Valentine's Day boxes and all of that stuff, trying to figure out what's for dinner and just fitting it all in.
Fitting it all in. Who are the Valentine's boxes for?
I've got three littles, 5, 7, and 9. Yep. And I oscillate between, waiting for them to be 13, 15, and 17 and wishing we could go back 5 years. So
be careful what you wish for. I got an 18, a 7, and a 3. So I have a little bit of chaos all over the place, right?
You did it right, though. That 18-year-old could come in really handy.
I got to tell you. So I was out in Utah. One of our partners is Chris Crone, and Chris runs events at his event center in Provo. So my wife and I went out there, and we were there from Wednesday through Saturday. And I flew back separate from my wife. My daughter babysat for 3 days, and the kids survived. I will say the home did not burn down. But the cleaning skills of 18-year-olds are a little bit left to be desired,
Yeah, you just got home to a tornado and she's like, they're alive. Everyone made it.
It was out like this. And it was, she definitely is going to be watching a lot of Teenage Mom from this point going forward, because like, okay, I don't want that right yet. But
Yep. That's good. Yeah. The ultimate birth control.
That's exactly right. Folks, we are Infinity X. We are joined by Katie Barnett. She is a health and wellness coach, megapreneur, 22,000 followers on Instagram. And we're going to dive really, really deep into her story, what she's up to in the world. Replay will be available on We Are Infinity X YouTube and weareinfinityx.com. So Katie, let's go back to the beginning. Where are you from and what was, growing up in childhood like?
I grew up in Southern California in a town called Newbury Park. It's a little bit, I always describe it, it's right in between Malibu and Santa Barbara, which sounds pretty idyllic. And it is. It's an idyllic little town. It's pretty amazing. So just set back from the coast a little bit. We're like 15 minutes in. And growing up, I had no idea what a beautiful and perfect little town it was. It wasn't until I got out of it that I was like, oh, it's like a little Dr. Seussville. But so yeah, I grew up in Southern California in a little suburb, 2 older brothers who are 8 and 12 years older than I am. So I was the surprise, although I'm pretty sure that I was just thought of as a mistake more often than not in my growing up years.
Highly doubt that, but
I put them through it. I did,
We all have at one point or another, right? And then we grow older and we say, Mom, Dad, you were so right. I'm so sorry, right? I should have listened. But so grew up in between. I'm sorry, the town was
Newbury Park.
Newbury Park, between Santa Monica and Malibu. And so what was that like?
It was fun. My brothers were older and they both did sports. Big and football was kind of our big thing. And so starting at 2, 3 years old, I was cheering at their started cheerleading. Just like my mom just got me a uniform and I would just cheer on the sidelines until they started like pulling me in. In high school, I started cheering with their high school teams when I was little. I would think my brother was 16. I was only 4, cheering at their high school games. I just wanted all the spotlight, I guess. And now I look at my daughter and I'm like, I don't know where she gets it.
Apple didn't fall far from the tree. No. And did you end up going to college?
I did. So I went to San Luis Obispo, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I was pre-med. Okay. And I put my parents through some stuff, but I was also like a pretty good kid in high school. It was a lot of things flew under the radar. But I made their hair turn a little gray, but it wasn't until college that I was like, I am free. And so long story short, I roomed with my cousin. We're a lot of trouble together. And my second year, I don't remember what year it was. Maybe after my first year, I failed out. Like I was not made for pre-med, and I wasn't, I think that I could have done it, but I just had, more exciting things to do at the time. So I failed out of college. That was horrible, by the way. My dad's a fire chief. My brother my two older brothers, one is a captain for Beverly Hills Fire Department and has his own construction company, that very successful construction company. My other brother went to the Air Force Academy and is retired now, but he was an incredible fighter pilot. And so
Wow.
F-15s. So I had a lot to live up to. And I failed out of college.
Was that hard? Was that a lot of pressure? Did you feel the pressure at that point, or did you kind of not recognize and like, okay, I'm just going to do my thing?
Yeah, well, I think that it's really interesting because I have a lot of friends with like little sisters and now friends with kids, right, who are in that like new college. I have nieces, most of my nieces and nephews are now in that early 20s area.
Yep.
And you go through this thing where you know that you're not making the right choices, but you don't want to have to face them. And so you just kind of disappear from like the family and the world so that you don't have to like address the decisions you're making in life.
Sure. Yep.
And I can't imagine how scary that was for my family, like, I mean, because I wasn't off, living on the streets or anything. I was just having a good time. But at the same time, I wasn't available. I remember when my niece being born and partying and being like, oh, cool, like not checking in. And so I just think that I like to remind my friends and family, like, look, they're going to come around. Just remind them that you love them and know that they're just kind of in that like figuring themselves out area and space in life. And that's where I was. I wasn't in too much trouble, but I did fail out of college. I was making some bad choices. And so what was really funny was that I did feel like I had a lot to live up to. My brother at that point was incredibly successful, both of them. And my dad said to me when I finally got the courage to tell them what had happened with all of their money, he said, well, we're not going to pay for you to keep living there, obviously. Yep. One, and two, like, hey, it's okay. College just isn't your thing. And neither of my parents had graduated from college. My dad was very successful. My mom has done amazing. And he was like, it's fine. Like, it's just not your thing. Come home, get a job. And he meant it. He wasn't questioning anything. And I think that it was a gift that he gave me, but it also made me go, no, you know what? Like, this is my thing. Like, I want a college degree. I know that I'm smart. I know I can do this. I didn't get in pre-med for nothing. I had every intention of finishing school. And so they were like, and I said, I'm not leaving San Luis Obispo. So they were like, okay, well then here you go. You're on your own, figure it out. Mm-hmm. And it was funny because my very first class, I was dating a guy. That kind of helped, right?
Yeah.
There was a guy involved.
Yeah.
20 years.
Yeah.
20 years and 3 kids later, it turned out okay.
Just fine. That's incredible. That's awesome.
So yeah, there was this guy there, and I enrolled in the junior college, got myself a job, worked really hard. But my first class at the junior college, I didn't show up for the first class. It was like a US history class. And because I was with a guy. And so I'm like, it's junior college. Like, I can still just get by doing, bare minimum, and which I didn't before, but, so I show up to get like what I missed on the first day. And he just straight up said, you're going to fail this class. I'll give you the work that you missed, but you're going to fail this. This isn't an easy class. And I was like, okay. And that was in that moment, that was like, from then on, college was.
Yeah. Wow. And so did you end up finishing? What did you get in that class?
I got the highest grade in that class. I got an A+, like every test, everything. I just was, watch this. And he had written the book. I don't know, those of you who went to college, like when your professor writes the book, you're pretty much like screwed.
Screwed in every way, right? Like, well, check the book. Well, I wrote it, so you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
So that kicked me into gear. I don't know. For me, being told I can't do something clearly is what really motivates me.
I love that. I love that. Guys, this is Katie Barnett. We are Infinity X. If you have a question for Katie, please put it into the chat. I will get to it during the course of the conversation. So, Katie, so when you graduated from the junior college, actually, let me take a step back. Did you graduate from the junior college or did you then transfer after that? Like what transpired next?
So I transferred. Yeah, I transferred up to Chico State. That was kind of a funny question. It's a funny thing too. So again, the boy had moved now up north because that was where he worked. And so Chico State was the place for me. And I had all of these bad grades, and so I remember contacting their department to discuss one of these grades that I was really worried about. And it was like a C- and something. And he goes, C-, good enough for Chico State. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be cool. This is gonna be
great. Oh my, we welcome the C-. Bring them all in. Yeah.
I know. I think it's a little harder nowadays, but at the time I was like, awesome, cool, let's do this. But yeah, so I went to Chico State. I graduated. My original plan was nursing, and I pivoted. Looking back, I think everything happens for a reason, and I'm so thankful for where my path took me. But at the time, I was just about to turn 21, and they were like, it's going to take an extra year to get your nursing degree. And I was like, no, thank you. Now I'm like, everybody stay in college as long as you possibly can. Don't get out into the real world. But yeah, so I did. I graduated Chico State. I went on, ended up graduating in health science, went on and got my teaching credential, taught at the high school level for a while. I love 14-year-olds. Like they're just so much fun to work with. They're so malleable, but at the same time, think they have it all figured out. So I did that. And then I went back and got my graduate's degree in education. And then I worked a little bit, and then I had babies.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. Okay. So you had 3 kids, right? And it was at that point that, were you in a reflection, like an inflection point where you're saying to yourself, okay, do I want to remain home with my kids? Do I want to go back to the workforce? What was the decision or thought process there?
There were a lot of things. Can I go back to like right before my grad degree?
Please, absolutely.
Because I think there was this really pivotal moment that happened for me. And I think it was right before I went back to school to get my teaching credential. And I was working with a construction company, and it was
your brother's construction company, or?
No, it was another one up in Chico.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So, and I was working it was like an office. I worked in the office, but I was like an operations coordinator and it was a large company that worked all over the North State. And so I was, creating new systems, and I was doing a great job. And I was young, and I was earning a really good income for what it was. And so they took me into their, like the big office one day. I'm like, what did I do wrong? And they sit me down to tell me that they see me becoming the office manager, and that would come with like a huge raise. And this was kind of like, in the future, this is what we see us grooming you for. They said, we want to give you like a $3 raise, which was huge at the time. And I was so I felt really honored. It was so kind of them. And I walked out of that office and was like, I got to go back to school. There is no way that my life ends in this office as an office manager, Yeah. And I didn't know what my plans were for myself, but I did know, and looking back, I had no idea what that like moment was going to mean to me. But looking back, it's like, I've done that since then a number of times. And it was like, yeah, no, this isn't going to be my end all, and,
were you feeling entrepreneurial at that point?
I remember always thinking of entrepreneurs as some kind of just like shooting star of a person. I couldn't imagine what it would take to start a business on your own. It seemed so impossible and so awesome, the idea of working for yourself. And I think that's what really I loved about the idea of teaching, was getting to, plan your curriculum and really get to take ownership of what you do in the classroom. And especially at the high school level, you have a little bit more autonomy. And but the idea of entrepreneurism was like, it seemed really out of reach for me. So it was something that I loved the idea of, but it felt impossible.
We are Infinity X, giving the stage and microphone to Human Excellence. This is Katie Barnett. And Katie, I can identify with that thought, because I think that at one point or another, somebody either has something that transpires in their 9 to 5, right? And, or they, they feel some sort of conflict, or they feel some sort of ceiling on what their income capabilities are going to be. And they start to think about, okay, well, what would it be like to go into business for myself? And, they either snap out of that real fast, or they look at an opportunity, jump at an opportunity, don't map it out, don't plan it out, right? Go about it all wrong, and then fail and call entrepreneurship, a waste, like it's okay. That doesn't work. I can't network market. I can't, I can't be in commission-based sales. Well, you know what? You can't, because you've coached yourself out of it because you didn't approach it with a plan. Right. But, in teaching, right. And I come from a long line of teachers personally. I feel like a teacher as a financial planner, right? I'm very, very much a teacher and a coach, but, there's a ton of entrepreneurship in teaching, right? Because, number one, you're making the most important sales presentation every single day without fail. You can't have an off day with kids, right? You are not allowed to, right? Whether you're hungover or you're not, you can't not be prepared, right? And so what was the experience for you like especially 14-year-olds, because they pick up on crap, right? They pick up on anything that doesn't smell right. So what was that experience? What was that experience like leading up to having the kids?
I loved working in the classroom. What it taught me more than anything was how to admit my faults.
Wow.
Because just like you said, 14-year-olds, like, they get it, and they'll smell a rat. Like,
Yeah, sure.
and I think that I wish I could remember his name. I had this student who had come from an inner city, and he was easily, like, I had 14-year-olds in this class, but it was his senior year.
Yeah.
And I think that he was like 19. And I remember the first day of class, like, he was so intimidating. He was easily like 1.5 feet taller than me. I'm pretty short. And he just took me as a joke, like this. I was so young too. He said, I bet I'm older than you. I was like, well, you do look older than me. I will give you that.
It's like the chin hair gave it away,
Yeah, like, he was a big dude, and he needed the class, and it was rough in the beginning, and I was like, you know what, if I just like get over my ego, and it's not about, like, you don't need to be a kid with them. They have to respect you. But also, like, what comes with respect is your ownership of, whatever it is, saying, like, you know what, guys, I don't know that. We're going to have to Google it. I have no answer for you.
Sure.
And so just that class, and it was one of my first, it was while I was student teaching, but that class, gosh, it taught me so much. And I remember my mentor at the time going, like, this is going to be rough. And I was like, no, I think I've got this. And it was, it was humbling and amazing. And he did end up graduating, which was so cool. And I remember seeing him. I was doing jury duty, and I got to see him, and his he had a little baby with him, and he remembered me, and that was just such a feeling. So I think beyond just like the part where I had to create things and learn things along the way, it was really just more of the leadership that I got to learn, especially because I was young at the time. And so to learn a level of leadership for kids at that age, who they can mutiny like pretty quick. Like
Sure.
you can get a whole classroom of kids turning on you pretty fast.
I can imagine. And that would be, I mean, that would be a super, I've never put myself into that position, but that would be super scary, you know, because, you know, because they think they have it all figured out in one set, and the other side, you know, obviously they don't, but when they rally together, that can, you know, that I can imagine that would be pretty intimidating. But so, so how many years did you teach that at that grade level?
You know, I was only teaching for, it was about 3 years,
Okay.
and then went into my grad program, taught through my grad program, but wound up going to a nonprofit and
Okay.
creating curriculum for the nonprofit for a while.
Okay. All right. And then what happened after that? Now, what happened after, you know, working with the nonprofit? Was that what, at the point you had kids?
Yeah, so we were trying for a long time. I had a miscarriage and then in grad school, and then we were trying for about a year and a half. And so when I did finally get pregnant after the miscarriage, and I worked for a little while, and then you know, with complications and stuff, I wound up saying, okay, you know what, this is like, I remember having a conversation with my husband, and he was like, we were kind of talking about what my future was going to be, my career and all this stuff. And I was like, you know, there's nothing there's no job that's going to complete me. I want to be a mom. And I meant that, but then I changed my mind.
Okay. Okay. And when you changed your mind, what did you decide to pursue?
Well, I mean, it wasn't so much that, like, yes, being a mother has completed me in so many ways. It's the most amazing thing ever. But I just changed my mind about wanting to work. You know, I love working. I love using my brain. I love learning things. I love teaching things. I love speaking. I love leadership. And so that was really what started for me was I'm sorry, my glare is like gnarly. It's killing me. Like heaven.
The divine intervention right over
Yeah,
your shoulder, right?
I'll take it. So I started an art business. That was like my first kind of little thing.
Wow.
And so that, you know, it wasn't some big jump into leadership or anything like that. I made a sign for my son's first birthday, and I was like, wow, I'm like really good at this. And then you know, it was before the big like Etsy chalk craze had really hit. So I had something that people really wanted the look of and everything. And I started a chalk business and would create custom chalkboards for weddings and signs and on wood and chalkboards and whatnot. And it was a neat way to help my family with our income. And it took a lot of time from my life. It was like nap times, bedtimes, you know, right after bed, I was working until 2 o'clock in the morning, and it took a lot, and it was hard. It actually, like, I don't feel like I actually gave it up. My last sign that I took on was probably within the last year, because I just have such a hard time saying no to people. But
Yeah. Got
that
it.
was,
Yep. Yep. And by the way, shout out to Parker Russo doing designs for the Island Boys right now. He makes custom canvases. So shout out to Parker, our audio visual specialist. But we'll see if that is, there's going to be repeats on that too. But so did you say, Katie, that you just did your last one this past year?
yeah, I think I can't remember exactly what it was, but there's been like when a school reaches out or a nonprofit reaches out and they're like, we'd really love one of your boards. I'm just like, I don't do it. Yes. Okay. I'll do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, listen, again, now, have you always been artistic? I mean, or was that something that just kind of like unveiled after you did your son's sign?
Yeah, no, I have in like high school, I used to do the big, you know, the banners that the football players run through.
Mm-hmm.
I'd always do these, it was looking back, I'm like, I can't even believe that I'd spend like 2 days painting some huge Tasmanian devil running a football down the sidelines. And then within half a second, they've like run through it. And
It's like all my work is now just
yeah.
you know, destroyed.
And I'm like, okay, I'll do it again next week. So So yeah, I never thought to like, I would have never considered myself an artist. It was just something, and it's something that kind of just runs in my family. It's really funny. Like we all can, my mom and my mom and myself, and now my sons, we can look at something and draw it. And then my daughter has like that creative part of her where she can just draw. Like that wasn't me. I can recreate anything that I look at, but I'm not Monet by any means.
I can do cash flow analysis probably as well as anybody that you're ever going to meet. But if you ask me to draw a picture, I'm like, I knock on the door of being special needs. Like there's just nothing about me that is artistic in any way, shape, or form. I love music, right? I love, give me hip hop all day. But so Katie, but then there was a point, I would imagine, where you said to yourself, that the entrepreneur in you really, really started to come out. And so when did your journey into coaching and really deeper into wellness come about? How did all of that, come into the picture for you?
So what happened was I had a friend who was in network marketing.
Oh, great.
And
Yep.
she had sold a lot of different things, and I would always buy whatever she was selling.
Yep.
And she's my hairstylist, and she's been my best friend for really my whole life. And so, she at one point was like, multiple times, pretty much every time I got my hair done, you need to do this with me. You need to do this with me. We could go on trips. We could do this. You'd be so great. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. And she was like, I'm like, do you honestly believe in this like business for real? Like it's, all the things, pyramid schemes. So you look so cheesy, all this stuff. And she's like, I believe I'm going to be able to retire my husband. And I was like, oh, that's so cute. You poor disillusioned child.
Like what island are you living on? I want to come and live there. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, okay, you have fun with that. And so yeah, it was a little while later. She was on like she was selling something else, and she just kind of like would sell this and sell that. And she was searching, and but she had a product that seemed like it would help me a lot. And so it was a, cleaning products. And I had a son, my youngest son had respiratory issues. And so I was like, okay, I need this. And I had a party with her, and that went really well because I was active in making sure everybody understood that I really did love these products and use them.
Yeah.
And so after that, I was like, okay, well, maybe I'll try this. And just not to even to make money, just to get the products.
Right. Just to try it, because you had a real why behind it, right? Your son had respiratory challenges. And so this was going to be something that was going to have a direct impact, right? I get that.
And so I was like, I'll do it. And basically I had a quota that I had to meet. And if I didn't, we were going to have to pay $200. And we had just built, our dream home that we could not afford at the time. And, it was like, my husband will kill me if we have to pay $200. Like, I mean, and that looking back now, I get how jumping into something can seem really scary. Even if it's just a small amount of money, $200 doesn't seem like it's the worst thing to lose, especially when you're getting to start out with products or whatever it is that the company's offering. But for me, it was a lot. It was too much. Like we could not spare $200. And so that was my big goal. And I was like, if I'm going to do this, I'm just going to own it. Like I laugh at people. Yeah, I think that this stuff is silly, but if I'm going to sell cleaning products, like not where I thought that my life was going to be, I'm just going to own it. And so I did. And all of a sudden it was like, oh, I'm making some money. Okay, if I can pay my PG&E bill every month, gosh, what would that do for us?
Katie, around what time frame was this? When was this?
This was 5 years ago. So yeah, it was, so I had been doing my art business for about 4 years.
Yeah.
And yeah, I guess it was about 5 years ago.
And if I could put some frame out there, my wife also has been in network marketing for a period of time. And what I know about that time frame, folks, is that was the time when the saturation of post and pray on Facebook and direct messaging, when the saturation was really starting to come out, right? So if you had moved into network marketing maybe 8, 10 years ago, right? Well, building it just on the social media platform of Facebook had a lot more palatability, but it started to become much more saturated, much more difficult to build a brand at that time because it was really, really starting to take shape. Am I right about that, Katie? I mean, that was around.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. So what did you do? I mean, obviously you had passion for it, and you have to have authenticity when you're positioning a service of some sort, right? You have to be a believer in it. You have to be a benefactor. What was your approach towards building out your brand?
Everything online, because when my husband was gone, we couldn't afford childcare. And when he was home, I wasn't willing to go away, So, and in the company I was with prior, I it was mostly people were still really very much in person. So it was kind of a new novelty that I was doing this online, and I had built a team really fast because the idea of working online, like you said, I had about a really great year of being kind of something new, like a product that people hadn't seen before, doing something that people hadn't really seen done before. And it was amazing. It was exceptional. It was really fun. I believed in the products and I believed in all of it. And I was building everything online, and I stood out in a company that hadn't really seen that before. And I got to bring a lot of good and work with people and teach them. And I kind of came from the place where, in different companies, there's just not a lot of like, I don't know how to put it without sounding bad, but there's just not a lot of sharing, because there's a competition.
Yeah, sure.
And I started really paying attention and studying online trends and all of that. And the truth is that, like, there is no competition, you guys. There's so many people out there, and everybody needs to like basically, I don't have to worry about somebody stealing customers. That's a scarcity mindset. And when everybody can just get into like this true abundance mindset and just be like, look, the better you do, the better I'm going to do, the better we all do, the better my business is going to go. Sure. And so even though I didn't really have that like overall feeling, I was like, this is how we're going to roll. Mm-hmm. Like in this team, we're going to share everything with each other. I'm going to give you guys everything that I do. And I encourage you to start doing some of your own stuff, but like, I have nothing to hold back from you or anybody else. And so I had an online training group where I was like, I don't care whose team you're on. Come in here, let me teach you and show you what I'm doing. And it's all yours. I remember speaking at a conference. I spoke quite a few times for conferences and leadership conferences, and they were like, you don't have to give them what exactly you do. And I'm like, what? No, they can. Yeah, no, I'm going to give them exactly what I do.
Katie, could I, that's such a wonderful access point. If I could for a second,
yeah.
My partner, Infinity X was established. My partner, Rob Gill, is an influencer. He's advisor to really, really, really high level thinkers and business owners and entrepreneurs. And he, founded Epic Financial Strategies 20 years ago. And we, about a year and a half ago, when COVID was, actually it was like 2 years ago, when COVID was really, really taking clamp, right? And nobody could, in the world of financial planning, you couldn't be face-to-face anymore, right? So people had no idea how to market themselves and were starving to death, right? And we were thriving because we were doing things in the financial services world that nobody had ever done, because we had connections with ecosystems of relationships, right? And them driving conditioned conversations to us. It was, and we decided that we were going to run just a webinar on how to 19x your sales. Right. And it was pointed at insurance producers and financial planners. And we kept getting approached and saying, well, guys, why are you giving away the secret sauce? And we're like, because why wouldn't we? Right. If you're going to do it at our level, do it. have fun, right? Grow, beat us. We welcome the challenge, we welcome a board. We need a bigger boat anyway, so the fact that you took the approach of, well, it's not going to be competition. It's going to be, I'm going to share every trade secret, because guess what? If you're not going to outwork me, and if you're not going to adopt what I do, then good luck to you anyway, right? Why wouldn't I share that? Because more people that are successful in this world, and this world's a better place, right? So
Yeah.
anyway, I just thought that was an amazing access point to share that.
I mean, more than anything, the income was amazing. And sharing, great products has always been amazing. I'm very picky about what I'm willing to share. But the leadership is what gets me, and getting to help other people be better in any area. I mean, if you check out my Instagram, it's all over the place. I'm talking about momming. I'm talking about, how to therapy and mental health. And it's they talk about niches, and I'm like, I don't really know. I'm here for everybody, this is what I'm going to do. And I just don't really care. And so in business, it was for me, the leadership part and getting to help people just level up on whatever level that they wanted to and were ready to do, and offering resources without concern for it holding me back in any way. I just don't have that. I don't have that bone. And I'm thankful for that, because it feels like it would be a real hard thing to get over. And, in entrepreneurship, once you get into it and you start connecting with other people, I mean, I learn the most from people like you and other people who have gone through this. I don't see them as a competition at all. I just want to know everything that they know and see how I can get better.
1 + 1 = a trillion, right? That's what it's all about. Everybody, that I think I think when you find like-minded individuals that have workable ecosystems around one another, and you merge those, and you have conversations about how to proactively make each one of them benefit, everybody wins, right? It's just a formula for really great things happening in the world, because people like you need bigger stages, bigger microphones. You have a great message to put out, and our responsibility is to create larger stages for one another, right? So that we can reach the number of people that we were put on this earth to reach. And so, Katie, are you still now working with the same excuse me, the same company that with the household products? Are you still with that company currently, or what kind of happened after that?
I start, just like you said, the online saturation got really difficult. And so what I was doing and what I was teaching was becoming really difficult. It wasn't working anymore. And kind of what I saw, it wasn't about people just within my company that I was in, but it was just kind of how everybody was selling online. I was like, this doesn't feel good to me. And I'm not going to do what now everyone thinks we have to do to stay online. And I'm not going into people's houses. I mean, there's a plague out there, and I'm just not going to. It didn't feel good to me. And I can talk all day and with complete conviction online or in a Zoom or over the phone or whatever, something about getting into somebody's living room and being like, okay, I hope you guys enjoyed the snacks. Now it was then I was a salesperson, and I'm a crappy salesperson. I have great sales, but I'm a crappy salesperson. I just like sharing things that are great. And so really, I just started panicking because what had worked wasn't working anymore, and I couldn't change things enough to make it start working. And I was kind of in a place of I don't know how to keep being who I am for my team and for everybody else. And then I found another company that my cousin had I was kind of mad, because I was like, why didn't you come do this with me? She was way too cool to sell cleaning products, but she started sharing something, and I
cool with cleaning products. Let's just be real on that, Katie, for a second, okay?
I know. I would always say, I never expected myself to be 37 selling cleaning products, but I never expected myself in this business at all. I never could have imagined what it could do for me. I wanted more though. I wanted to be able to write books. I wanted to be able to share like anything that I like. And, you know, I had the opportunity to do Amazon affiliates and be affiliates for other companies. And I was able to share these products and people were very interested in them, but I wasn't allowed to earn money off of anything else. And
Yeah.
so, and I, you know, I wanted to write a book. I love to write and I wanted to do podcasts and start a podcast and, you know, all this stuff. And I just felt like
You felt captive,
I was
right?
captive.
Yeah.
I felt captive. And I felt also that, I didn't see really a future of my income exploding. It was more of like, how do I hold on to this income? And that didn't feel fun to me. And so, when I saw this opportunity, I didn't really believe it. You know, it was hard. It's hard when you're kind of used to one thing. I knew nothing about comp plans or network marketing or sales, or I knew nothing about nothing when I started. You know, I didn't know what I was doing. I just wanted a simple product. And so, so I got to learn a lot, and I had already learned a lot at that point. But when I saw kind of this new system and you know, party list system and more of like an affiliate code sharing and how it like stretched out and what it could mean for not just me and my future, but you know, anybody who came along and what that would mean as a leader. Really, more than anything, I was simply like, I can't lead here anymore. You know, whether I go somewhere else or quit altogether. Like those were my only two options at the time because I couldn't be a leader authentically. I just didn't feel good about it anymore. And it's sad because there's so many amazing companies out there. It was just a me thing and it was a business thing. And it was me seeing where my brand was going and where my potential was. And I didn't have it in that space anymore. And so it was really an overnight decision. Like, I mean, it's crazy. And, you know, I talked to my husband, he was kind of like, I don't think so. I don't think you should do that. That sounds stupid.
Yeah. Well, but you pulled the trigger, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. Yeah. So what was the new company?
I'm with Modere now, and it's liquid collagen biocell. And so I was really, it's health and wellness. It's, you know, really the only collagen out there that can benefit your joints, gut, on top of all the skin things that people typically think of with collagen. So clinical research, like I said, the patents and all of that was really important to me, along with environmental aspects and all the things that I needed to see in the company. And then just all the growth and freedom. So, I mean, you know, most of the people in the company do have, you know, they have coaching businesses. We have, you know, chiropractors and dentists and so it was about being in a place where I could diversify my income in any way that I really wanted to and be proud of the products that I was sharing. And so I've gotten to, like I said, grow my personal brand more, you know, utilize my LLC.
You know. and so in that space, you've obviously grown quite the following on Instagram. What was your strategy? And did you see like just slow, steady, consistent growth, or have you seen like a real launch in your vertical when you made the decision to move? Like, what did that look like?
I grew a lot because I felt like I could say and do whatever I wanted. Like suddenly I just felt, you know, there were a lot of things that I wasn't allowed to like say or do prior. And so I just had to like try and be me, but like behind a curtain. And so, and you know, maybe that was perceived in a way, but there were a lot of rules. And so I just kind of got to rip that off and start doing everything that I love to do and talking about things that I no longer, you know, it's funny. I talked to my team about this a lot, and it did happen for me in my first business as well, or first big business as well. I'm like, what I realized was that I had this opportunity to reinvent like how I want to go out, you know, like who I want to be on like this big stage. And it doesn't matter if you have 300 followers on Instagram or 20,000 or 180,000 followers. It's like, do you want to be the person who like just makes snarky memes or, and it's fine. Like we all laugh at that kind of stuff, but like, I want to be the person who brings goodness into a day. I want to be the person who helps somebody like overcome something and who like has somebody think differently about something. And so I got to do that on one level in my first business, but then I got to really take that to a whole new level, especially in the last year. So yeah, I've gotten to see a lot of growth in a lot of different areas, and you know, my networking with people like you and getting to do things like this. And it's been a ride that is only just beginning. So that's a lot of fun.
Incredible. We are Infinity X, giving the stage and microphone to human excellence. We have the queen of network marketing, Katie Barnett, on on the Infinity X stage. She is leveling up, folks. She is going to places that you know, most people in that field aspire to be, and she's literally at the tip of the iceberg. She's only moving forward. If you have a question for Katie, please put it into the chat. And so Katie, so that's where your feet are planted right now, right? And what are some trends in your business, right, in your vertical that you're seeing that are now different or changing, that you see coming down the pipeline, in how people in network marketing have the ability to continue to expand their businesses and not, you know, feel the drag of that, you know, future saturation? Because I don't even know if we've seen what the new saturation on marketing in that space looks like.
You know, it's interesting because in network marketing, it's going to change. You're going to see a lot of changes in it. You know, the way of the past is not going to be the way of the future. And companies like Modera are, you know, one of our core values is being disruptive. You know, there is something inherently wrong not wrong, like it worked 65 years ago.
Yeah.
It doesn't work anymore.
Right.
And those of you who have ever tried a good product, like there are excellent products in network marketing, you know, but it's gotten a bad rap. And that's because, you know, it's the same reason that card dealers have bad raps. You know, right. There are bad seeds in everything, right?
You know, I'll tell you, Katie, not to cut you off, because I want to build off of this, but you look at my space, right? Insurance and financial planning. You want to talk, I mean, Tom Brady goes in the 6th round, right, of the draft. And he was saying to himself on ESPN, oh, I'm sitting there thinking I'm going to have to do insurance sales. Like, oh God, but that, you know, that's earned. And listen, for all you entrepreneurs out there, right? If if you're not thinking about how to grow your verticals in different ways, right? And to leverage new methods of marketing and ecosystem merge, you're stale. Because what's being taught out there in my world, Katie, is the exact same thing. 90 years, right? 90 years of, hey, write out a project 200 and go see all your friends and family and do business with them. And when you fail out, we'll keep it. It's just hamster wheel, hamster wheel, hamster wheel. And if you're not growing, you're dying. And those are dying fields, right? So what are you doing not to die in that space?
I mean, it's all about affiliate marketing, and the new companies, they're moving to that. There's no more living room parties, and the great thing, and what I love to see, is that it's not just, so these few network marketing companies are going in that direction, and it's excellent, because there's so many incredible ways that then you can grow customers and reach new customers without having to do these parties, without people having to feel icky, just because they're like, yeah, this stuff works. Someone tells them that they look great, and they're like, here's my code, you get this money off. I get a discount as a customer. And I'm no longer feeling like, there's no longer that feeling of, I have to recruit everybody that I know. I have to recruit every customer, having a company and a business where customers get to stay customers and they are valued and honored in that space. And then people who want to start a business get to start a business. If you've ever been in anything like this, you know that relief is massive.
Yes.
It's everything. And it's just, I think that there's a lot of integrity in it. And with the trend, hopefully it's going to move towards that. The problem is just that it's going to be really hard for a lot of companies to make that turnaround without stripping everything down completely, you know? And so you're going to see a lot more affiliate codes. I mean, you see every company is switching to affiliate codes. I'm like, where's my Nordstrom affiliate code? You know, like it's going to be everywhere, because this is the best way to market now, is through word of mouth. And so you can go to somebody who doesn't sell a single thing and they'll have a link tree so that they can benefit from you learning about what they love, you know? So even if they're not making money off of it, anybody can use affiliate codes for the longest time, my business supplies. Oh God, I loved my business supply company, and I had an affiliate code for them and got discounts, told my whole team, like, this is where you can buy your stuff. And then I got money off my next order. And it's just Project Broadcast. Like, it's all these companies are doing the same thing. And for me, I was using affiliate codes to get discounts, but there were opportunities prior where I could have been earning money and I wasn't allowed to, you know? So I knew that I was closing off a stream of income there that now I don't have to do, which is really great. And again, like on Amazon, I don't know if you need like anything to become an Amazon affiliate. I think anybody, I don't know. I'm pretty sure most people can become one. They're just like, yes, share our products. And so, you know, there's just, it's the way to do it. Yep. Anybody.
I knew my man Kabir Wolf was out there, and he was going to see he could do it, because that man finds like about 65 different vertical income sources, but he knows Amazon pretty well. I knew that was the case. Shout out to Kabir.
And hello, right off, I'm like, I'm going to buy this Echo, this Alexa. Oh gosh, she's going to hear me. I'm going to buy the Alexa.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to turn around and share my link, and boom, we're writing it off.
Now, Katie, are you also coaching network marketers as well, in addition to continuing to build out your brand? What are some of the other things that you're doing?
Yeah, I do coaching. I do one-on-one coaching. I do like branding coaching as well. Mm-hmm. And I still have a Facebook group that's available to people. Just, you know, I share bits and pieces there, and it's not specific to my company at all. It's just about online growth. It's become a little bit more difficult because there is this like then and now in network marketing, you know? Mm-hmm. And so what it looked like to maintain a business with some companies, or what it looks like still to maintain a business with some companies, it looks different with those that are now kind of switching to this kind of new next generation of social retail, which is what, you know, we call it and what it is. It's no longer network marketing, it's social retail, and it's the way of the future. It's really cool.
We are Infinity X, stage and microphone for human excellence, folks. This is Katie Barnett. And Katie, what does the future look like for you and your brand? Like, where are you going? What do you see yourself expanding out to? And what do you want to have happen with your brand in the next, call it 5 years?
I mean, that is the question of the hour, because I could go in like 20 different directions all the time. But you know, my big passion is helping people to realize that like it's just never that point. I counted myself out really early in life, you know, like I settled for teaching, even though I think it's the most incredible job in the world. You know, it was really just like, what can I possibly do that like isn't going to be too hard, and isn't like, I settled, and I gave it a fair go, and I loved parts of it, but and then when I had these 3 little kids, and I just kind of thought like, there's nothing else that I can do. You know, I remember telling my husband, like, now, like, our lives are over, not in a bad way. But like, you know, our big things are over, and now we just get to watch these kids go and grow up. And that was a really beautiful thought to me. You know, it was like, okay, like I've done all the things, I've had all the baby showers, gave all the births, like the whole other podcast. But, and I meant that. And like I said, like it was kind of like this neat, like graduation into adulthood and motherhood. But but when I really look back at it, it was like, I stopped dreaming for myself. And
Yep. I identify with that.
you don't have to do that. Like, you don't ever have to do that.
Yeah.
And I need to know that I got to be a part of helping people like dream again, and, go back to like their big goals, and, not just say, okay, I guess this is going to be it. And again, like, I was blessed. I couldn't believe how my life had turned out with my beautiful, healthy children, and, the guy that I chased for forever, and the beautiful home. But I wanted a lot more. And I thought that it would be selfish for me to go after something, even though I wanted it originally. Like I said, it was just to pay off our electricity bill, but it grew into something like, I get something out of helping people. I get something out of writing. I get something out of all of this. And now I can figure out a way to earn money doing it. And gosh, I can write a book, and I can, do these things. And
Did you write that book, by the way?
no, I like I said, my brother wants to write a leadership book with me, which I think would be real fun, between, a network marketer and a fighter pilot.
Fighter pilot, Air Force.
Lieutenant General.
Yeah, really?
Colonel, like,
Yeah, I would listen. I would buy that book in a second.
I know. My business coach was like, that has never been done before.
No, I mean, that would be the original of originals right there. Our friend Dolph DeRoos has written about 23 books, but that would have nothing on Dolph's books.
Oh.
That's unreal.
I mean, really, like, capture a large market there,
Yeah, seriously. And Katie, let me ask you another question. You have 3 kids, right? And you mentioned college, right? I just from the looks, I have you in age by a little bit, right? But when we went to college, it was the thing to do, right? In my opinion, anyway. I mean, you were pre-med, so you kind of had a little bit more focus than I did. I didn't have a damn clue what I wanted to do when I went to school. But it was the thing that we did, right? It was just a natural evolution. In today's world, that's not the natural evolution. That's a $65,000 per year mistake if you don't do it the right way. And
Right.
so when you look at your kids, I think people that are entrepreneurs running their own businesses look at their kids and say, do we want our kids doing what we do? Or do we see a different future for them outside of what we do? And, that might be, for a variety of different reasons, but what do you see for your kids? Do you see your kids moving into the network market space? Have you had, like, what's your vision look like there?
The thing that matters the most to me is that my kids know that they can achieve whatever they want to. And I mean, when I think of like what it is that I'm trying to do at this point, it's to show them that you can do anything. I learned how to skateboard at 36. I picked up a ukulele and started to play it at 37. Like, I am like, and that's all to just, my son is like, yesterday we were outside skateboarding, and I'm like, don't do this if I'm not around. But as we're like bombing down a hill. But everything that I do is to try and show them, like, look, watch this. This is what we're going to do next. Like, and I need them to learn that. And, my dad saying what he said to me when I failed out of college, meaning it, my dad was the most successful fire chief in the history of Santa Monica Fire Department. And he went through every single rank in that department. And he's still renowned within the department for what he did there, 20 years after retirement. And my oldest brother runs an incredibly successful construction company, on top of being a captain for Beverly Hills Fire Department, which was his dream. And he didn't start working there until he was almost 30, and I mean, that's late for most firefighters. And right. So I don't believe that you have to go straight into college. In fact, I think that, like you said, unless, like, I look back and I'm like, who wants a 17-year-old planning their future for them?
Yeah, right.
So I'm not saying college isn't a great thing, because I have a niece who's pre-med at UCLA, and she's not pre-med anymore, but she's going to graduate in 3 years from UCLA. Like, amazing. She knows exactly what she wants to do, and that was exactly the right thing for her. And then I have a nephew who did a couple of years in junior college, didn't like it, and now he's a super successful Air Force, paratrooper. He has a better word for that. It's like the Navy SEALs of the Air Force. I don't know what it is. I'm sorry. I'm a horrible aunt. He's like ripped. I was like, he's not going to be able to do this, I don't think. And now he's just like this ripped grown man of a child. And I don't know. So I just, all that matters is knowing that at any age too, but like, yeah, no, it's not about going straight to college, especially if you haven't figured it out yet,
But what I'm hearing you say is that you support the person, right? And that you support, the ability, the idea that the greatness within each human just needs to allow to be developed, right? But it also needs leadership, right? It needs leaders. It needs leadership, maybe not necessarily from the standpoint of, like, with my clients, I never say, hey, you have to do this. I say, hey, look, this is what I would do if I were you. Right. Yeah. Here's why. And let's make that choice together. Right. Or figure it out together. Right. And allow the beauty of the spirit of whatever that individual is to really kind of flourish and grow. And it sounds like you do an incredible job of coaching people in that space, and so
much about those, you can have a goal setting is an interesting thing. It's so important to help you strategize. And I think that goes for really anything, whether it's like, okay, I need to get the laundry done by tomorrow at noon.
Right.
Right.
Yep. Absolutely. There's a linear path to be able to get there. Life's not linear, but there is a linear path if you goal set. That is true. Right.
And so, I think that, and obviously you can be like, I want to make $1 billion in the next year. And it's never going to happen, unless, certain people it's going to happen for, but we'll get there. Yes. So I can have that big goal, but I want them to learn how to set good goals for themselves where they push, you got to be able to push yourself, something that's going to require effort and daily activity, and, where you can have milestones in between. And that's really what entrepreneurism is too. You have to be like, it's all on you. You got to wake up and do the things, because nobody's going to force you to do it, and
absolutely. We are Infinity X, by the way, stage and microphone for human excellence. Replay on weareinfinityx.com and YouTube. This is Katie Barnett joining us. And hey, Katie, a couple more questions before I let you run for the evening, if you don't mind. Network marketing is a variable income. Right? It's a variable income. Anybody in the entrepreneurial world knows that income can be variable, right? Anything in sales is going to be, but network marketing in particular, right? Obviously there's residualized income and things of that nature, but there's ebbs and flows. And from a finance and goal setting perspective, I would imagine that can be relatively challenging as you look at, okay, let me look at 2022. My goal set for 2022 is X amount of dollars. And these are the A, B, and C things that I need to get to that. But can you share with the folks a little bit around how you strategize towards, call it microburst goal setting, every, make it a 12-week year, whatever the case is, how you approach your level setting and goal setting for business expansion as it pertains to income?
I mean, it's going to depend obviously on the type of product that you're sharing. And, I have a consumable product, which means that a lot is on me being good at following up with customers, because and it's not a lot of follow-up, but like once you create that relationship and that you have a system for that, then you're able to help people with different issues or whatnot. So, there's going to be a customer retention and a customer acquisition goal. And so, essentially it's that when I go for like my sales goals, it's always going to be, okay, what's my retention need to be? What is my acquisition going to need to be for the next 12 weeks? What does that mean so every week, how many people do I need? How many new customers do I need to acquire? What am I going to do that? And like I said, like within our company, because people can share codes and share the products that way, and there's not a lot of education required. Even though I love offering the education because it's my favorite part, they are immediately connected to me, and I can focus on what I do to acquire customers, but then also making sure that my customers understand that they have something to share and something to get out of that. So I don't have to focus all of my energy on that. It's just a matter of what's my DMO? What am I going to do every day to make sure that I'm fostering this area, right? So
what were some things, because that can become very laborious too. And I'll make a point on the Epic front after I ask you this question, but that can become because acquisition and retention are two totally different things, right? But as you scale and as your relationships and your customer base expands, right, it can become challenging to continue to provide white gloves. So what are some things you've had to outsource or you are strategically outsourcing for 2022?
I love talking about outsourcing. It's so important and it's so good. And I will just tell you that my first thing that I outsourced, because I had no idea how I could ever teach somebody to do what I was doing, was the laundry. It was the laundry.
Is that?
Yeah, because I seriously, and I thought I was joking at first when I was like, if I could just think of one thing for people for somebody to do for me, it's the freaking laundry, because I've got these 3 kids and I'm doing laundry 100% of the time. And it's all I'm thinking about when I'm doing other things. So yeah, I paid someone 2 hours a week, $20 an hour to come in, fold and put away all the laundry. And it was the greatest thing I've ever done in my life. It was the smartest decision I ever made, because when you free up the little things in your brain that hold you down like that, then you're going to create creativity, right? So there's that. But what I do is I use a system called Project Broadcast, which I love. I stay active on social media and make sure people know that I'm also reachable. And I have an assistant who just uploads my customer reports and stuff into my Project Broadcast, so that I can then create like a campaign that is 2 ways. It's not about just shooting someone like, hey, thanks for your order, have fun. It's about opening up that conversation. So I'm still involved, but because there's a system to it, and then a system within the company that I'm with, it really makes it pretty seamless. And I got to start this company with the knowledge that I had from my last company, which was none to start, and then learned along the way. And so, from day one here, I was like, I'm starting everybody out on a customer, connecting with them immediately, sharing with them how they can share their code, letting them know that I'm here to answer questions, giving them resources to look things up. And that's all a system at this point. So it's really there's not a lot of labor involved at all. And then when somebody has a question or an issue or needs me to help build them a new cart or anything like that, it's not something just jumbled in this mess of me trying to contact people all the time. It's an outlier, honestly. And so I get to deal with that on like a really person-to-person level, which is awesome.
That's incredible. We are Infinity X stage and microphone, Katie Barnett. And that was called Project Broadcast, Katie?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Project Broadcast. Yeah. In my link tree, there's a link for it. It's not a link tree. Sorry. I don't have a link tree on my website, on my Instagram, my bio.
Well, listen, guys, you need to check out Katie Barnett. I mean, she is up to some really incredible things out there. Katie Barnett, 22,000 followers on Instagram. What other verticals are you in on the social media space, Katie?
I'm like, let me think. I'll basically sell anything that I love. So, I've got clothing that I have on there. I I share discounts for a lot of things that I'm not necessarily even making money on, because when you share things that are good, when you share things that you love, that other people are going to love, you know, it's not, I want to make money on as many things as I possibly can, but it's also just about helping people every day. Right. So I'm kind of involved in a number of different things. But when it comes to what my streams of income are, it's coaching, it's, you know, a couple of different I've got Amazon, I've got Like to Know It, I've got, I don't know, like I said, closet candy, pretty much anything that I can get involved with. If it's a product that I love and that works for me, I'm gonna be in. So hey, listen, if you got something else that you want me to share, hit me up. I'm always gonna listen to your pitch.
Drop the mic on that one, folks. Hey, all you entrepreneurs out there, you want to be aligned with people that have been there, done that, can get influence out there. And Katie Barnett is definitely one of those folks. And Katie, you know, it's interesting too. We're very, very similar. You know, myself, my partner, Rob Gill, and our company, we just through some proximity to other influencers, right, and business partners, saw an uptick in our sales appointments and conversations where, you know, this month as a team, we're going to do a little bit over 2,000, right? And that is absolutely unserviceable if it's like 3 or 4 people, right? So we've had the good fortune, actually, you know, 2 of my team members that we just brought on last year, Antonio Veglica and and Landon Arcangelo. Those are my boys.
They're awesome. How funny is that? They're amazing.
I know they were so upset that they weren't able to join tonight, but they made sure to let me know that they had had a conversation with you in the past.
Cool. Yeah, they're amazing. Oh my gosh, I can't say it. That's so cool.
Well, and they're guys that you know, I've been doing this for 23 years, and I see my future in guys like that because they have the same level of work ethic that I've been employing, but you know, they're entering into a world that, you know, it took me 15 years to get into, which was to find conditioned sales conversations that are coming in. And, you know, so their ceiling is incredibly high, but I share that also because, you know, as we continue to build and continue to expand, we are going to have to continuously create and recreate systems where we can take on more volume and keep the client white glove experience. And it really, really sounds like you have been very effective in doing that. So I really applaud you for that. I think it's incredible what you're up to.
Caring about people. It's just about caring about people. If you care about people, you know, or you take the time to start caring about people, then creating a system and having a system is so important. And taking on the work, you know, not taking on the work, but letting other people do some things for you. You know, when I hired a virtual assistant for the first time, it was so overwhelming to release the control. But there's like this, my business coach had me like square it out, right? And he's like, look, there's important, like urgent. Then there's important, non-urgent, not important, urgent. And it's like, and then not important, not urgent. You get rid of that last square. You hire out this third square, you know? And so like when you can start like putting things in those categories, and for me, it was like graphics was one. You guys, I had an art business. I'm excellent at graphics. Like I can make the most beautiful graphic you have ever seen in your entire life, but am I going to, does it make me any money? Like to spend an hour creating, you know, a set of graphics that is then going to, people are going to look at for like 3 seconds and move on to the next thing. No, it's absolutely not worth my time or energy, and it doesn't matter. And that's like, you know, my mentor had us basically break down our minutely rate, you know, and it's like, so think about it, you know, when my son was like, hey mom, can I get, you know, $4.99 on my whatever video game he plays account if I empty the dishwasher? And I was like, yeah, that's worth it to me. That's
Exactly.
less than my
Nice
minutely
ROI
rate.
on that, right?
Yeah.
Because that time, things I must earn, TIME, that can be redeployed back into something that's a greater growth vertical. You know, we design strategies for people like yourself, Katie, and entrepreneurs and business owners where they get multiple spins on their dollar, right? If I'm going to take a dollar and I'm going to invest it back into my business, I want to get our high ROI on that investment. But I also have to remember that, you know, while my money was deployed back into my business, it could take time for that yield to happen. I need my money to continue to work for me. So we use verticals where the money continuously is working and working. And so I totally identify with that, right? You have to identify, right? If I am going to make a deployment of capital into something, whether it's my time, my money, or my energy, what type of yield am I going to get on that? So I totally get that. I totally get that. Katie, you're awesome.
You.
I mean,
So
just
are you. I know. Let's just stay here. I mean, how much more time? We got a couple more hours.
yes, why not? Why not? I mean, it's but what is what's the stage that you want to take next? Like where, you know, like as you continue to put your message out, I mean, social is one thing, right? But if you had the opportunity to get onto a stage to put out a message in any business and or any setting, what does that look like? And share with us why.
Gosh, that's such a loaded question.
I'm known for my loaded questions. I apologize in advance.
I just want a room full of people who are like not like who want more and aren't feeling it. So like where can I, you know, I don't know that any like corporate company is going to let me come in though and be like, hey guys, you can do more than this.
That's
Simple. I see it.
See the exit sign over there?
But no, I mean, I think that like when personal development it's changed my life, you know, and I've seen it change so many others. And I mean, it's helped me get to this point where I get to network like people like you and Landon and Antonio. Like they blow my mind. Like I can't even believe I'm that's so funny. And that's not the first time. Now, when I get to know, you know, I was on a different podcast recently and he's like, hey, you know, so-and-so. And I'm like, how do I know all these amazing people?
This world keeps getting bigger and bigger and smaller at the exact same time. Epic, by the way, folks, we're coast to coast. Don't sleep on us. We're coming. But
I love it. I love it. Yeah. So, I mean, I just want to be in the place where I can inspire the most people. And so, you know, I don't know that I've figured out my perfect stage quite yet. But I'm gonna.
Yeah, you are. And I have some ideas around that. And look, I mean, look, there are no coincidences. You know, Antonio and Landon spoke incredibly highly of you, as did Todd. And I can see why. I see you in our future, right? I love what you're up to, and I'm excited to learn more about it. And you know, Katie, I want to thank you for spending an hour and 15 minutes of, you know, unbelievable value add time, right? You shared, folks, she shared golden nuggets around self-mastery, discipline, you know, focus in network marketing, focus in affiliate marketing, focus in brand recognition, in branding, in parenting, how, you know, she leveraged, you know, the skill set that she acquired as a teacher to apply it to multiple businesses that she has, that most folks would never even create the correlation, but I completely was not confused about that. And just dropped golden nuggets, you know, I mean, golden nugget after golden nugget. Any finals, Katie, for the good folks on the call this evening, as well as they're going to watch the replay?
I'm like, I have like this whole like filing thing going through my head right now. You know, the one thing that I keep saying kind of that has just been, I've had more people repeat this back to me recently, because it struck a chord with them that I feel like I have to share it. And it was that and I might have even mentioned it already today, because I feel like I have in other meetings, but if you think about something more than once, you just got to give it a try. You've got to do it. You've got to go after it. And then you own that decision. And, you know, when that can come down to really anything. I think of a pair of Burberry boots that I bought that I couldn't afford at one point. And I owned that decision. And I ended up sending them back because they were horribly uncomfortable. But I took a picture in them, and they
Monica from Friends. Remember the boots? Monica from Friends?
Yes, yeah. that was it. That was me. And so, but your fear, you know, once you get into action, that fear is going to dissipate. So much of it is going to dissipate. So you can just live in the fear. And whether that's, you know, what, if you've already started a business, but you haven't actually like gotten into it, you haven't been doing the things that you know you need to do out of fear of failure. I mean, that's really what's going to hold us back so often. And when it comes to starting a business, fear of failure, you know, not the unknown, you've got to own it. You've got to get in there. And just know that action is going to dissipate most fear. And then the rest of it, it's kind of like that excitement, that thrill when you're going down a roller coaster, you know, and it's exciting, and that's momentum, you know, and you got to learn to love the momentum. And then you've got to pick yourself up when you fail, because failing forward is how you thrive in life and in business. And so you've got to figure out a way to get yourself a book, listen to the podcast, do whatever you've got to do to understand that there's a lesson in literally everything. Just take full and complete responsibility for yourself and your life, and own your decision, and go after it. Go after it.
Drop the mic. Fail forward, folks. Fail forward. This has been Katie Barnett. We are Infinity X. Replay on We Are Infinity X YouTube and weareinfinityx.com. Katie, you have rocked our microphone tonight.
It was an honor.
It was an absolute pleasure. Really, really appreciate it. And like I said, I look forward to future conversations with you, because I know that there's things that we could co-create together. But folks, again, I want to thank you for joining us on another session of Infinity X. Replay on weareinfinityx.com, We Are Infinity X YouTube. We've been joined tonight by Katie Barnett. Check her out on Instagram at Katie Barnett. And until next time, folks, Katie, again, thank you so much. We will see everybody on another session of Infinity X. Peace.